Yes. So we're gonna let him talk about that, and then if you want at the end to talk a few minutes about modifier.
Yes, I definitely will.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Yes, it is afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Albanese. Has anyone not been to one of the talks we've done before? So a couple people. I'll just give you a quick little overview about who I am and what we're here to do today and accomplish. I'm a chiropractor on the West End, and I have a family wellness practice. Our mission is to help individuals and families reach their optimal level of health through chiropractic care and the education of health, wellness, and human potential. And that's in part why I'm here today, to help inform you, to provide you with information so that you can make decisions possibly differently, look at your life differently, possibilities for your life. And that's really what we're here to do. And also, we're going to provide you some tools that you can put to use to help, especially in the context of thinking well, stress reduction. We used to call the talk stress reduction and stress management, and then think well, because I think that's a more proactive way of looking at stress, because we don't want to manage it. We want to, at the very most, decrease it. So in the context of stress, most people think about stress in terms of I'm stressed out. But I like to put stress in a little different context. I want to put it in the context of health and really show you how stress can lead to health problems. So let me ask a few questions. And this is when everyone takes a bite so they don't have to answer. Anybody want to share with me their definition of health, what they feel health is? What health means to you? And you don't have to volunteer answers because there are people in the front row, so they're going to provide us with all the answers. Anyone want to share with me what their idea of health is? Yes.
I'll just do it.
Yes.
Being sound of mind and being in good shape and
Okay.
having a good outlook on your emotional situation and all of
Okay.
that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Physical and mental.
Yep.
Physical and mental, like well-being?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else?
The balance,
You can all just agree.
the balance of everything.
Balance, okay. Of everything, meaning physical, emotional, that kind of stuff? Okay. And if I were to tell you there are 5 essentials of health, 5 ingredients, if you will, that comprise health, anyone want to share with me what they are? You already touched on a couple of them.
Diet,
Diet, exercise, nutrition. Those are the 2 we get first. Eating well and exercising. Anything else?
sleep.
Sleep? Yeah, absolutely. When your body recovers and heals.
What about like happiness?
Happiness, your emotional health. How about that? Mental, emotional health. Sometimes we get to this point, sometimes we don't get this far. So we'll shed some light on the others. So let me just share with you a definition of health. And there are many definitions. The one I like, especially in the context of talking about stress reduction and thinking well, is your body's ability to constantly adapt to the changes that occur, both inside and outside the body, and then respond appropriately. So your body's ability to constantly change and adapt according to its world, its environment. When we look at health, we can look at the 5 essentials of health. Eating and exercising, obviously that's very important. And then we have rest and sleep, your mental, emotional state, and your nervous system, your brain, nervous system. Okay, these are the 5 ingredients, if you will. If you look at your nervous system, that's an essential for life. Eating, not only proper nutrition, but just proper eating. Okay, eating, we need food to survive. We need fluid to survive, air to survive. So some of the essentials for health are obviously going to be essentials for life and vice versa. Now, when we look at stress, now let me just let you know too, when I see nods and things like this, I know this is not a talk for you, it's for the people you know. So don't worry, I'm not judging anyone, right? Stress, anybody want to tell me what stress is? What stress means to you? So when your body's not adapting? Right. Okay. Anyone else? That was awesome. You were right on. A lot of times people will say stress. I have a project due. That's stressful. You know, people are in stressful jobs. Not here, but stressful jobs. Stressful relationship. This person stresses me out. right? We always talk about a thing, a person, some circumstances that causes stress. That's the thing that stresses me. The reality is, stress is how your body responds to things. Can you adapt to whatever that stressor is, right? Because stress is not a project, it's not a relationship, it's not a job. It's your response to those things. Give you an example. You have to be at work at 9 o'clock. It takes you 15 minutes to get to work and you leave at 10 of 9. Okay, right away you kind of set yourself up for not a good situation. You're driving to work and what happens? Every red light, right? And then there's that one car that pulls in front of you and purposely slows down to sabotage your efforts to get here on time, right? That's their job that day, right? We say, oh, that person stressed me out. They got me, I was late because of that person. Well, the reality is, well, you left late. No matter what you did, you were going to. So it's how you respond to things. We don't think about that car as being, well, maybe that's an emergency. That person had to get over in that lane because they were going to the hospital to visit somebody. Maybe their wife was giving birth. Maybe they got a call from school. Their child was sick. See, but we always look at it and say, oh, they did that to me. They cut me off, right? We forget to think about, well, what else is going on in the world besides me? There's some other things happening here. Maybe it doesn't all revolve around me. So it's how you see your world. So let's talk about stress. There are 3 main types of stress. One is emotional stress. I'm stressed out. Right? Then chemical stress and physical stress. Here's the thing. They can all affect your health. They all can have a detrimental effect on your health. And I want to make that very clear today once we get going with the talk. Because people see stress as, oh, I'm stressed out. And that stress never really leaves us. We're always stressed out. Well, once that project is done, I'll be okay. I love talking to kids. We have a little neighbor who just turned 12. I'm like, man, what is it like to turn 12? He goes, oh, it's awesome, 1 more year. 1 more year? You just turned 12. Well, then he's going to be a teenager. You talk to a 15-year-old, what is it like to be 15? Oh, it's good, but I only have 1 more year. Then I'll be able to drive. 16, I'll be 17. 20, how's it like to be in your 20s? Oh, it's good, but 1 more year, I'll be 21. 64, what is that like? 1 more year, I'll retire. We're always waiting for something to happen, right? So how do you see your world? How do you perceive your world? How do you adapt and change? And also, how do you see yourself in your world? So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about emotional stress, because that's one that, for most people, is the big factor in terms of their health. Stress. Emotional stress, good or bad? Healthy or sick? Good? Well, let's put it in a bigger context. Stress as a whole. Healthy or sick, good or bad? Good? Did you say both or good? Okay, both. Anyone else? Is stress bad? Stress good? Is it both? You don't like it, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to rewind about 40 or 50,000 years. We're living in caves. We come out of a cave and we see a bear. And we see a bear. It could be a stressful situation, right? Depending on how big the bear is. We see that bear, right away our body goes into a fight or flight response, a stress response. Okay, that stress response is necessary and appropriate given the environment we're in. There's a bear there. Now, once your body goes through that stress response, certain things happen. We need certain things to happen in our body. So we're going to need to contract muscles in case we fight or flight. Either way, we need muscle contraction. Now, muscles contract, but they need energy to do so. So we can sit down and have a big meal, or we can use the energy we already have in us, which is sugar, glucose. So your body says, you know what, let's send some more glucose, some more sugar through the blood, right? So it can be delivered to all the muscles. That's a good thing. We're going to need some increase in oxygen. So oxygenation increases. Blood pressure goes up. These are all necessary and appropriate. What else happens? We're not going to be eating a big meal. So a very energy-consuming function of our body is digestion. Let's slow that down. Except for one thing, acid production. We'll speed that up. We're also, cholesterol is very important, kind of like a triage mechanism. Okay, we might be sustaining an injury. So let's go ahead and send some cholesterol through the blood. That's going to be good. We're probably not going to be having any intimate relations at that point in time, so let's suppress all those functions and all those hormones, okay? These are the things that take place in this fight or flight response. Now, the bear leaves. Everything is good. We go back to the cave. We do our hunting and gathering and all these other things we used to do. What happens to all those reactions, do you think? After the bear leaves, they balance back out. Everything goes back to a state of balance, right where it was before that stressful situation. Does that make sense? Now, what happens when we have a stressful project, a project that's due, and we get stressed over that project? What reaction that I just mentioned do you think takes place in that situation? Which ones? How about every one? Every one of those reactions takes place. If you're in a stressful relationship, and that relationship stresses you out, right? You say, oh, I'm stressed out, the person drives me crazy. And we're in that relationship for 10 years. How long do you think those reactions go on for? 10 years. Or whenever that stress decreases, whenever you respond differently to that environment, and there's no longer that stress response. So this is now how we're going to parlay this into health. Fast forward 30, 40 years of your life, okay? You've lived a stressful life. You've had stress, right? Those reactions have been taking place 30, 40 years. Now all of a sudden, we have high blood pressure. What do we do with the high blood pressure? Do we look at our lifestyle and say, okay, I need to change my lifestyle? I think my lifestyle has brought about high blood pressure. Typically not. We start treating that, don't we? Cholesterol. Cholesterol increases. We're not going to think about stress in terms of cholesterol, so now we start treating the cholesterol problem. The sugar imbalance. Now, I can't eat the foods I used to eat, right? My digestive system is slowed down. I get constipation, I get bloated. But now I have this burning in my stomach because the only reaction that increased in terms of gastrointestinal function was acid production. Now my hormones are out of balance, right? They're all over the place. Then what happens? Well, I can't perform intimately like I used to, so now we treat that with a lifestyle drug. See, we start treating all these problems 20, 30, 40 years down the line, right? When in fact it was a lifestyle situation. Now, can those problems be problems in and of themselves? Some type of dysfunction? Absolutely. But stress affects you in a way that physiologically your body is responding appropriately to stress, just like it is that bear. But now the stress isn't a bear, it's your life and how you're responding to your life. See, increasing your blood pressure, it's appropriate in stress. But having 20 years of high blood pressure is not appropriate. I'll give you an example. I have a patient I've taken care of for years. He comes in once a month for maintenance care. Okay? So I have a good history with him. I know him very well. He didn't have any history of blood pressure problems or high blood pressure. He comes in the office one day and he has high blood pressure, and I can't remember the numbers. I'm just going to say it was 160 over 130 or something like that. It was high. I said, Jeff, we need to figure out what the problem is here. What's causing your blood pressure to go up? So he went to his medical doctor, and I called him up within a couple days, and I said, Jeff, how's everything going with the blood pressure? He goes, oh, it's fine. He goes, everything is fine. I said, well, what was the problem? Understand the wording. What was the problem? He said, well, they put me on high blood pressure medication, and it brought everything back down. I said, Jeff, do you think that solved the problem that caused the blood pressure to go up? Did you have a lack of blood pressure medication in your body? I said, no, there's some type of stress that's causing your body to respond that way. I said, let's make an appointment with a kidney doctor. So he goes to the kidney doctor because kidneys have a big part in regulating blood pressure. They find an aneurysm on his nephrotic artery. Okay? What do you think happened to the blood pressure when they took care of the aneurysm? It all of a sudden wasn't a blood pressure problem anymore. Blood pressure balanced out. See, his body was responding appropriately given the changes in the internal environment. There was stress in his body, and his blood pressure went up in response to that stress. Had he not addressed the environment, right, his internal environment, his blood pressure, his body would have said, why are you suppressing me with this medication, and worked even harder at trying to increase. Does that make sense? You think he would have been healthier or sicker? How long do you think a heart works really well if that's the scenario? Not as long as it should, right? They took care of the aneurysm, his blood pressure balanced out. See, his body was responding appropriately to that stress. If I get on a treadmill and I start running, my blood pressure goes up, right? Because it's in response to the change in the environment. Now, when I get off the treadmill, my blood pressure should balance back out. But why is it then we have unexplained situations that come up? Gosh, for years, I never had blood pressure problem. I never had cholesterol problem. My sugar's never been an issue. Well, could it be the environment within you or how you're responding to your external environment? See, we don't think about stress in those terms. We think about stress as, oh, my muscles get tight. Yeah, that happens with stress too, because your body becomes very acidic. So if you have a swimming pool and the chemistry of the pool is balanced, everything looks great. But when the chemistry of the pool is out of balance, what happens? We have algae. We say, oh, the pH is off. Your body becomes acidic, just like a swimming pool. You know, when a garden becomes acidic, weeds grow. Right? That happens in your body too. Your body becomes acidic. When it becomes acidic, that's not healthy. You should be neutral in terms of your pH. So your body tries to balance itself out. So it takes magnesium from muscles. It takes calcium from bone to try and balance out the acidity. You don't have to remember all the technical things, just the concept is important. Now you take magnesium out of muscles, muscles don't relax, they stay contracted. Anybody have stress and have tight muscles? Tight muscles, oh, don't even touch my muscles, right? Or we go the other way and say, wow, you're losing calcium, take more vitamin D. Well, maybe it's the inability of your body to utilize what it's given, not a lack of. And then we start treating osteoporosis. See, can there be problems in and of themselves? Absolutely. But I want you to understand how stress can affect you and bring about those problems. And we never address lifestyle. We address the symptom. And the change in symptom is successful. I had a family member went to the doctor last November. Goes to the doctor, she had high blood pressure. And I've been trying to work with her on her lifestyle because I know her blood pressure is not a problem, it's her lifestyle. Anyway, she goes to the doctor in November. Everything looks great, your numbers are perfect. 3 weeks later, she had a heart attack. See, she had a problem when she went to the doctor. She had a problem because her blood pressure numbers were normal because it was being regulated by the medication. But her body was in a state of dis-ease or dysfunction. See, it's how your body's functioning, how it adapts to the changes that are occurring inside and outside the body. If you understand the body, your body talks to you. You know, pain is a great thing because it's telling you something's wrong. And then it gives you parameters in which to do things. You have back pain where you're not going to bend down and pick this thing up, this box, because you have pain when you do that. That's your body, your innate intelligence talking to you saying, don't do that. Now, we'll try to override that because we're smarter, right? We try to override that. So stress, how you process things is very important. You have a part of your brain. I'm not going to get very technical. I'm just going to say left side and right side. Your right side is the rough and rigid side. When you think thoughts, when you see things and interpret them, and they travel through the right side, negative, sad, depressing, stressful, automatically those thoughts are processed through the right side of your brain, the rough and rigid side. That produces that exact stress response I was talking about. When you process things through the left side of your brain, that's the loosey-goosey side. Right away, your body processes the exact opposite. Happiness, joy, no stress, nothing like that, the exact opposite. And your body balances everything out. Serotonin levels increase. All those mechanisms I mentioned to you, they don't happen, right? So how do you see the world? How do you interpret the world? You know, we talk about the people who are the silver lining. Oh, they're always happy. Nothing ever affects them. You know, give a busy person another chore and they do it, right? They can handle everything. And then that one person, oh my gosh, you know, you're in a room and they enter the room, you don't even see them, your back is toward them, somebody says, oh, so-and-so just entered the room. Oh, they're here. Where are they? They come over here, right? They affect you in a way, or you're affected by them in a way, that you go into that rough, rigid side, that stress response. Right? The same way that person sabotaged your efforts to get to the office on time because they cut in front of you. Now I'm from New Jersey, we have a way of dealing with that. Right? But Here's the thing, how do you respond to your world? Because the way you think and the way you process your world, your thoughts, the way you interpret things, that produces a stress response. And that stress response will continue unless you change the way you interpret your world. See, stress is more than an event. It's more than a person. It's more than this project I have due and I'm stressed out about it. It's your health. It's much bigger than an event. Now, how long do you live with stress? That now can impact your health, the quality of your life. So you can't live like that for 20, 30, 40 years without some type of dysfunction. The body just says, hey, I'm exhausted. I can't function at optimal level at this point. So how do you interpret your world? We have 60,000 thoughts a day. I can see the world spinning and all the wives. Why doesn't the husband get anything done? 60,000 thoughts. He should be able to figure all these things out on that to-do list. Right? 60,000 thoughts a day. The problem is the thoughts we have, 40% of the thoughts, the things we stress about, things we're anxious about, never happen. 30% of the things we think about, stress about, or anxious about happened in the past. They can't be changed. 12% are illogical. Of all the things we think about, there's only about 2% we can positively influence. About 6% are going to happen anyway. So what do you think about? Where is your mind during the day? Put it this way. If you have conversations with your friends the way you talk to yourself, how many people want to hang out with you and talk to you? Okay, now we can get to the point of, okay, maybe I need to change my thought process a little bit. Right? 60,000 thoughts a day. How do you talk to yourself? What do you put in your mind? Right? A lot of times we keep replaying the same thought, the same scenario over and over again. And we never get to a solution. It just magnifies the situation. Now, this doesn't happen to you, but it's a hypothetical. Okay, it's a make-believe thing, right? So we'll just say a guy named Mike Albanese leaves work in the morning, right? He's a pretend guy. He's not me, right? He leaves for work in the morning. Maybe he has a conversation with a loved one, right, before he leaves for work. And it gets a little bit, energetic, we'll say, right? And he leaves for work. And that loved one then, what do? You would not believe how he just responded to me, right? And then let's meet at Starbucks. Rally the troops, get everybody there. So we rally the tribe, and they're all very, Danish and having their coffee. And then 8 hours later, that person goes home and meets Mike Albanese, we'll just say, hypothetically, right? So you go home, and all of a sudden, you've been at work all day. Have you been thinking about that situation? No, your mind's on other stuff. But now the arsenal is full. As soon as you walk through the door, oh, don't even smile at me. Let me tell you something, right? Imagine doing that every day and every day, right? Do we do things like that? Absolutely. Does it get anywhere? No. Creates more stress, right? So what do you think about all day? What type of music do you listen to in the car on the way to work? Or do you put a tape in that's going to bring you up? Your thoughts have energy. There are ways to measure energy. I know this kind of sounds a little weird, but there are ways to measure energy, okay? Or your thoughts, rather. Happiness, forgiveness, love, joy, contentment. These are positive energy. Thoughts, words. Same thing with anger, fear, grief, despair, stress. These come with it a negative energy. Anything rated above 200 empowers you, strengthens you. Anything below 200 weakens you. I want to give you an example. I think I did this last time. Did I do the example of the energy and thoughts? Okay, if not, I'm going to do it now. So this is going to work out perfect. I need 3 volunteers, and one of them has to be a man. So one of you guys can step up, and then we need 2 other volunteers. I appreciate you volunteering. Come on up, and I need 2 other people. Great, guys, come on up. Appreciate you volunteering. That's what happens when you sit in the front row. Okay, so what I need y'all to do, you want to stand over here. You're lucky, you get to hold hands. Go ahead and hold hands. See, you should have volunteered now, right? Absolutely. So what I want y'all to do, I want y'all to think of something happy, exciting, joyous, okay? Friday, happy hour, whatever you want to do. I'd like you to raise your arm up to the side, Yeah, not here, because you'll hit me. So to the side. Now, do you have any problems with the shoulder? Because I'm going to push down on your arm. I want you to resist me.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, raise it up to the side. Just let it sit there for a minute. Go ahead and think of something happy, something exciting, joyous, okay? Now, with my 2 fingers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down your arm. I want you to resist me. Push down. Hold it up, hold it up, hold it up, resist me. Okay, would you say I was pushing pretty decently?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You guys can stay holding hands, okay? You can rest your arm. I want you to take a walk with me. Come on over here. Oh, no, not all of you. You guys stay over here. Stay there. Okay. All right, so again, hold the hands again. Okay, go ahead and raise your arm up. I'm going to do the same thing, okay? So get those thoughts back in your mind, okay? Go ahead and raise your arm up, and now resist it. Resist it.
I can't.
Go back to where you were before, the happy thoughts, the not physical. Yes. Go back to those thoughts, okay?
You were bringing us down?
So go ahead in your mind, go to that place. Okay, resist me now. Okay, pretty good that time. What happened the second time?
I folded.
You folded. Yes, she made you weak, she brought you down, right? All right, go ahead and give me a hand, that was awesome. Thank you. You empowered me. So what just happened, right? This is something called kinesiology. I didn't put a spell on anyone. It's called kinesiology. Their thoughts had energy, okay? That empowered, made you strong, right? But, and I don't need to know the thoughts, there was something negative, sad, upsetting, those types of thoughts a second time. It affected all 3 of you and weakened your arm. See, that's what stress does. Now, picture that as your heart, your lungs, your stomach. And your thoughts are strengthening or weakening that part of your body. That's what you do to your body when you have chronic stress. That's a physical manifestation of what stress does. 60,000 thoughts a day. How do you think? How do you interpret your world? Because that can have real physical manifestations in terms of your health, especially if you're doing that for 20, 30, 40 years. That's how powerful your thoughts are. Right? You do a good deed for someone. Their serotonin levels, their happy chemicals in their brain are increased because you did that good deed. What's awesome is that person who brought about that good deed, their serotonin levels increase the same amount. Now, you have someone across the street watching that good deed take place, their serotonin levels are increased to the same degree that the recipient, those 2 people in that good deed are too. See, how you see the world, how you interpret the world. Do you see good things happening, or do you see negative, bad things happening? Do you see the world as happy or not happy? Is everyone with you or against you? This is the way we see things. We describe people that way. They brighten up the room. They're on fire, right? They're always lit up, right? We talk in terms of energy. So stress, right side, left side. The great thing is, no matter if you're on the right side or if you know people on that right side, there's something called neuroplasticity. Neuron, your brain, nervous system. Plasticity, you can mold things, right? So neuroplasticity. If you are or know someone who is constantly a negative thought person, a doom and gloom person, if you put enough good things into your mind on a daily basis, you can start to mold your brain to start to see things differently and interpret differently. Things like affirmations are important for that. Affirmations are things that you say to yourself in the present tense as if it's happening here and now. You say that enough, and you start to affirm who you want to be, what situations you want to see come about. We say affirmations in the office before we start seeing patients in the morning and the afternoon. We create our day before it happens. How do you start your day? Well, let me watch Matt. Let me see what happened today in the world. Right? How do you end your day? You turn on the news again? Right? Is there anything positive that comes out of that experience?
Not usually.
Not usually, no. Right? You want to see how stress affects people? My wife was doing the dishes last night, and we were doing the dishes together. I was doing that too. So we were doing it, and she had the TV on in the background, and it was the Real Housewives, yes, of somewhere, some happy place, because they're all happy shows, right? You want to see how stressful. You want to see what that mindset does, maximizing minimal little things. That's a perfect show. Oh my gosh, that's stress. It stresses me out watching the show, right? But how you can make a mountain out of a molehill, right? Do we do those things, right? Now you have an idea a little bit more about what the implications are on your life, on your health. So, yes.
So just watching something like that can be more stress?
Sure. Watch TV. Okay, watch the news. And you see a story about, say, I'm going to make up something that may be uncomfortable. Say something about someone, a young child, who maybe was shot or had something horrific happen to them, right? You feel that emotion, right? Your physiology changes. You may cry. Depending on the situation, you may get angry. So watching that evokes some type of an emotional response within you. Just like a good deed, something negative or sad has the exact same response, just in the opposite direction. Absolutely. Listen to a song. Right? Certain songs bring you up. Amazing Grace is the highest rated energy song. It touches you. There may be other songs that don't do the same thing. Maybe it takes you back to a memory or an experience you had. You can't even listen to the song without that emotion coming back. Right? That's how strong your mind is. You know, you go past a store and you smell something, you're like, oh my gosh, 8th grade. Right? So yes, absolutely. Watching something positively and negatively can impact you.
What if it makes you, like what if you look at that as like escapism? Like Real Housewives to you is like not stressful because it's like a story.
Oh yeah, I mean, you may watch it and just say, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, and go to sleep and not be affected.
Yeah.
I was just looking, I was reading into it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is people's lives.
Yeah.
You know, so it didn't stress me out, but I was looking at it just, oh my gosh. So yeah, I mean, you know, you can watch things, you can watch a movie on TV and find it enjoying, a murder mystery, because you're trying to figure it out. Other people might watch it and get caught up in the, you know, the events. So absolutely, it's how you interpret the world, right? You know, some people will say, I'll give you an example of that. Good family friend who has 4 kids and twins, okay? So 2 of the kids are twins. One twin has this condition. It's a pretty horrible condition. The life expectancy is about 6, maybe 7 years old, okay? They go from Philadelphia to California once a month for treatment. I mean, it is a tough situation, okay? She calls me up one day, and we did this big fundraiser in the office for her. She calls me up one day, we were talking, and she said, Mike, I don't understand why he has this. I said, well, I don't know either. You know, now it's not my child, so I look at it a little differently, obviously. I said, but you know, you told me once that when you guys go to the hospital, because they have to go to the hospital sometime and he has these attacks, and he may be in the hospital for a day, he may be in the hospital for 3 weeks out of the month. They don't know. So they go to the hospital, and she told me that when their little boy goes to the hospital, the nurses fight over taking care of him. They want to take care of him. We had a fundraiser in our office, okay? This is going back a few years. I had a patient who wanted to know if it would be okay if she wrote this family a letter. So I called Allison up. She said absolutely. She wanted to write the little boy a card. They got talking. She said, when is his birthday? She drove from Richmond all the way up to Philadelphia to bring him a birthday present. They opened the door. She said hello to the little boy. She gave the present. She left. I said, look at what your son is doing to the world. If he didn't have the blessing of this condition, being blessed with this condition, people's lives would not be the same. It's easy for me to say maybe because my kids don't have that condition, but I'm looking at it in terms of how can I interpret this in a way that isn't sad and upsetting? He is touching people in a way that he never could have if he didn't have that condition. So yes, it's how you interpret the world, how you see the world. There's always a silver lining. A lot of times we just get caught up in the ego. Me. You know, that person cut me off. This happened to me. Well, maybe there's a bigger picture. Maybe that person's in a bad mood and Snapchats a little bit because something horrible just happened to their family member. But we look at it and say, how can they say that to me? Right? We need to take a step back sometime and interpret the world a little differently. Any other questions? Did that answer your question? Okay. So that's what stress does. Now, chemical stress does the same exact thing. Chemical stress. How do we have chemical stress? What is that? Well, it's the air we breathe, the food, the drink, things we put in our body. Do you know that food can cause the exact same responses I just mentioned? You know, if we drink something with aspartame in it or eat stuff with high fructose, that causes a stress response in our body. You eat an apple, your body says, oh, that's an apple. It has vitamins, nutrients in it, we know what to do with it. Let's break it down, let's deliver it to every part of the body, let's rebuild our cells and tissues with that apple. But now let's have this Twinkie that can last hundreds of years, right? Because it has all the stuff in there that's designed to do so. So let's eat that Twinkie. We're going to break down that Twinkie. We're going to deliver it to every part of our body. Because our cells and tissues are constantly dying. About every 7 years, you're a new person, right? Because every cell in your body has changed. Cells die, you replace them with new healthy ones, right? Which is good if you're in a long-term relationship. My wife has gone through 3 husbands and just me. So that's good, right? I'm new and improved every 7 years, I tell you. If I don't get it right this year, wait another couple years. It'll be better, right? So you eat the Twinkie, now you break that Twinkie down, you deliver it to every cell in your body. Your heart, your lungs, your stomach are made up of that Twinkie, right? That causes stress to your body because it says, what in the world do we do with this? It's not like the apple, right? It's a Twinkie. It's got all this stuff in it. What do we do with it? That causes stress in your body. You ever see, kids, we say, oh, don't feed that to the kids, they'll get hyper. That's stress in the body. Their body is responding in a way that causes a neurological reaction that's changing their brain, the way the brain processes information. Aspartame does that. It's called excitotoxicity. They had to come up with a condition to explain the side effects of aspartame. Instead of saying maybe aspartame isn't good, let's just stop putting it in every kind of food. We just come up with a condition, then we treat it. Maybe it's called hyperactivity. Maybe it's called ADD. Right? Food does the same thing. Chemical stress can evoke the exact same stress responses in your body. So what do you put in your body? Just like a thought, how do you energize your body? How do you nourish your body? I had a friend of mine say to me, you're in pretty good shape, obviously. You're in pretty good shape. You're really particular about your food. I said, well, yeah, I am. I want to last 120, 30 years. I better put stuff in that's going to help build me up, right? Plus, I have to be a new person every 7 years of my life. Right? So he said, boy, you must just look at food like, oh, that's kind of just boring. It's just something I need to do to nourish my body. I said, no, I love food. I love to eat. I'm Italian, right? I love to eat. But I look at food as an energy source. Now, going to go out to eat this weekend with my wife and some people, and we're going to enjoy wherever we go. It's not going to be the organic food I might buy, but I'm going to enjoy the social aspects of things, and I'll enjoy the food. But what do you put in your body on a daily basis? How are you rebuilding the cells and tissues of your body? Because that can cause stress. See? So when we think of stress, you have to think globally. All the different types of ways that our environment affects us. Yes?
One question. So when you're saying it's your body gets stressed, is it because it can't identify what that
Doesn't
is?
know what to do with things. It identifies a thought as negative, and it evokes those emotions. And with that response comes all those physiological changes. If your body eats an apple, it knows what to do with it. We're
Right,
meant
I
to.
guess that's what I'm talking about, the food part of it.
Mhm. Well, I'll give you an
Is it like
example.
a neurological thing, or like it releases cortisol because it
It's-
can't?
Absolutely. When you have a stress response, right, your adrenal glands, there's an imbalance there.
Would it ever get used to it, like if you ate aspartame?
No. No. Cumulatively, we bioaccumulate those things, and that causes disease within the body. We may call it stomach problems, or diverticulitis, or colitis. It causes problems. Your body never gets used to it. It may become more desensitized to it, but it still has that effect on your body. That's why after you drink a beer, you never had a beer before, drink a beer. Oh, man, little loopy, right? But if you do that every day, it's not going to have that same response. It may take 2 beers or 3 to evoke that same response. But the accumulation of all those toxins are still building up in the body. It still has the same effect. You just don't recognize it.
So you're saying like natural versus processed?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're designed genetically to eat fresh fruits and vegetables and eat protein and healthy fats. That's what we're designed to eat, genetically. You know, you hear words like the paleo diet. Have you heard this? You know, the paleo diet is basically, what are we designed to eat? It's not a diet. It's a way of eating that is congruent with our genetic makeup. I'll just give you a perfect example. Aspartame. Okay? Everybody knows aspartame is not good for you, right? Aspartame was a drug that was being developed to become a peptic ulcer drug, a drug for peptic ulcers. It didn't work. So they said, we have all this money in A&R, research and development, R&D, whatever it is, research and development, right? We have to figure out what we could do with this chemical. It made things taste better. So let's go ahead and start putting it in foods. The whole process was a very long process, how they got it passed to the government, we'll get into all that, right? But now it's in our foods. Aspartame is made up of 3 components. One is phenylalanine. You eat or drink something with aspartame, it'll say on the container, contains phenylalanine. Because they estimate about 30 million Americans cannot metabolize phenylalanine. It builds up. You can't break it down. Phenylalanine is an amino acid. When it's in nature, it's bound up with buddies. When it's in aspartame, it's taken apart and it's utilized by itself. We don't know what to do with it, but it's by itself. Asparic acid, the same thing. Asparic acid, by itself, causes more acidity in the body. It causes your body to either increase hyperactivity or decrease, right? Your emotions go way up and then way down. You get that quote-unquote sugar rush. We go up and then we go down. But also the bioaccumulation of all the acids in your body causes stress, causes a state of disease. Phenylalanine causes a reaction in your brain called excitotoxicity. It causes neurons in your brain to fire at a very fast rate. We call that maybe hyperactivity, right? If you have little kids go to Chuck E. Cheese on like Saturday around 3 o'clock, you'll see what that means, okay? And then it has something called methanol. Methanol, when broken down, turns to formaldehyde. Now, that's what aspartame has in it. You may not be affected in any outward way when you eat something that has aspartame in it, but inside you are. And the accumulation of that over 20 or 30 years, if that's a primary, ingredient in the food that you eat, that's going to have a negative impact on some level. Now, what's dangerous is you may not identify it because you may treat the symptom of that, thought process or that food and never find out what the cause was. And the cause is still there, still producing the same response, but now you're treating a symptom, changing the symptom, but now your body has not gained health. So that's an example of that.
So if you have this buildup that you can't metabolize, and you decide that you want to change your lifestyle, and you do, how do you get rid of that buildup that's in there that you can't metabolize?
Every 7 years, you're a new person, right? So you start doing good things. Healthy cells, sick cells, are all going to die at some point, right? So your body starts replacing those damaged cells and tissues and healthy ones with new ones. So if you're eating Twinkies 3 times a day, every day, but now you switch to meals of apples, now your body's going to start breaking the apple down, and you're going to start accumulating more apple cells and tissues, less Twinkie cells and tissues. At some point, you're going to increase the apple cells and tissues, and you're not going to replace the Twinkie ones. They're going to die out, and you're going to be replaced with apple ones. So you recreate yourself. Absolutely. They say it takes anywhere between 2 to 3 years of consistent lifestyle changes to recreate yourself. How you eat, move, and think. Those are the predominant things that we need to look at and focus on when we look at our health. How you eat, move, and think. There's only 3 things you have to focus on. That's pretty easy. Short list. Right? So yeah, now it's not about perfection either. It's not about, oh my gosh, I can never have this or have that. No, it's about doing things better today than we did yesterday. Look, you only have one body. That's it. You can replace some of the parts. You may look different, go through changes at times, but that's it. This is it. How long do you want it to last? How well do you want it to function during the time that it lasts? So you can recreate yourself. We have when we have different nutrition programs. When we do our nutrition programs, I don't think we've done that here. We have, okay. We have some new programs that we've done, some new workshops. But, you know, I think we did, yeah, we talked about the cleanse and things like that. But there are specific ways to really enhance changes in lifestyle. And we can talk about that. If you have questions, you can email me or what have you. So, great question. Great question. So, when we look at, and actually, to kind of work on that question just for a second, there are 3 ways to look at your age. Your chronological age. Okay, I was born in 1967, subtract that from 2013. Okay, I'm 46, right? There's your biological age and your physiological age, okay? Or your psychological age, rather. How old do you tell yourself you are? Then there's your biological or physiological age, okay? They can look at cells and tissues of your body and say, wow, you're 46 years old, but because of your lifestyle, your body is aging at a rate of about a 36-year-old. Now, if you have an unhealthy lifestyle, at 46 years old, you're aging at the rate of a 53-year-old. You change your lifestyle, you can reverse the physiological age. That's pretty cool. Any questions there? I see a lot of light. Physical stress. Physical stress. Physical stress can cause the same reactions as emotional stress, as chemical stress. So I'll give you an example. Not you, someone you know. 9 o'clock, I'm working on the computer. 11 o'clock. 12 o'clock. 3 o'clock. All right? Your physical stress. How you hold yourself. Physically. Stress can cause changes in your body. Forward head posture. We see this a lot with the kids. Right? They're doing this. Backpacks, working on the computer. I think I work on the computer, but not a whole lot, because I work with people, right? Which is like an oddity today, right? So you work on the computer. I think people that work on the computer have this affinity. They have this relationship with the computer. As the day goes on, you want to get close to it. You feel more, close to the computer. So we like this, and all of a sudden, right? You want to get close to the computer. For every inch your ear is in front of your shoulder, it's like adding 10 pounds of stress to the muscles in the spine. At the end of the day, why is it my shoulders are so tight? Why is it that I need a back rub? Right? Physical stress. You go through that stress long enough, your body starts to produce stress responses, those fight or flight responses. Healthy stress, right? You go work out, you're going to break down muscle, but then you're going to build it back up. Your body's responding to that change in environment. But if that stress is too great, you try to move a car, okay, that might cause a problem because your body couldn't adapt to that stress. So physical stress can have the same response. 10,000 people, okay, were in a study, and they looked at their stress levels, and they found that stress levels, these people had no history of heart problems. Upset the part of the nervous system that affected the rate in which the heart beat, right, the contractibility of the heart. Those people, over 75% of those people ended up having heart conditions just due to the stress levels and the physical effects of stress. They worked on computers all day, so their posture went from this to this. Now, emotional stress, physical stress can cause that change. See, physical stress can upset your nervous system and cause imbalances. Because where is stress processed? It's processed through your nervous system, right? One of the essentials of the health. That's where you interpret your world. That's how you process things, through your nervous system. If your nervous system is overloaded, if it's stressed, right, we get like this, the messages the brain is sending to your body are disrupted. Maybe things speed up, maybe things slow down. You get yourself so worked up, you ever get an upset stomach, right? That emotional stress causes a physical change in your body. They call that a visceral somatoreflex or somatovisceral reflex, depending on the direction. Your body can produce changes physiologically if your nervous system is out of balance. For me, that's what I deal with as a chiropractor. We help to remove that interference by adjusting the spine and bring balance back into the nervous system. That's important because that's your interpretation device. And that's the signal caller for your body, if you will. That's the part that controls everything. So this is how stress can affect you. Some of the tools that we have available There's a great website called bonfirehealth.com. It's a website a friend of mine designed. It is a website that there's no charge for anything. It's a free website. If you go on the website and you want to sign up for the 90-day program, they send you, during that 90 days, 3 emails on eating, exercising, and thinking well. They're little insights or inspirational emails. After that 90-day period, you don't get any more emails, okay? The website has tools for eating well, healthy recipes, articles on food, tremendous amount, the article library is tremendous. Then exercising, tons of exercises, functional core-based exercises, things you can do at home, at a gym. If you have equipment, don't have equipment, you may have to modify some of the exercises. You know, they go from just doing lunges to flipping truck tires on the front yard. So, you know, you might have to modify them a little bit to what you're able to do and what you have available to you. And then there's the thinking well. Strategies for creating a healthy mindset. And all 3 of these tools are on this website, and you have use of it, whether you sign up for the program or not, you have use of all these tools. It's a free website. It is a great resource. It's stuff that we can all benefit from. We have folks in our office that have groups like at their companies and things like this, and they do it as a team. Yeah, let's do this. In fact, last time I was here, during the nutrition workshop, I had someone email me. I have no idea who it is. They emailed me about juicing and all. If you're here today, let me know before I leave. But they were getting on that website and using that as a resource I think they had like 4 or 5 people that were starting to juice. And so they were using that as a resource. So this is something I have not connected to it in any way. There's no emails you get. I have no idea if you go on it or not. And, you know, it's just there for you to use. So in a packet of information, we have some tools there. Feel free to go to our website. On our website, we have tons of resources that are available to you. You don't ever have to come in the office. Just go on the website and utilize the tools there. If you have specific questions, feel free to email me. You know, you can email me. Like I said, somebody emailed me last time when I left here within a day or 2. I have no idea who it is, but you know, if we can help guide you in a direction or point you in a direction or get you some information, or you know, if you're interested in coming in the office to see how that one essential, the nervous system, maybe you're not doing anything with that. Maybe you never knew that's important to look at. Well, your spine requires maintenance. It should be properly aligned and maintained that way. Maybe that can be causing some of the headaches or stomach problems or allergies or things like this. If you want to come in and get checked, we can certainly, you know, we welcome you to do that. And basically, there's a little gift card. I don't know if you will have a gift card. You can come in the office. It's $25. Just bring the gift card with you, or tell us when you come in that you have the gift card. It's available for you, your family, friends, as many as you want. The first visit, we sit down and we just go through your health history. We go through an exam, and we have you come back and review your x-rays with you on the second visit, explain the exam. We do an exam on a computer that analyzes your spine and the nerves, and the nervous system. And then from there, the third visit, we go over some recommendations with you. Whatever you want to do, you do. My job is to provide you information and tools to help you really maximize your potential for health. And if you're not maximizing all 5 essentials of health, then your health is never going to reach an optimal level. So we provide that to you. If you're not close to the West End, we'll find someone for you that can take care of you so it's convenient for you. And if you know people outside this area, let me know. We'll find someone for them wherever they are.
I was just wondering that website, what was it?
Bonfire, B-O-N-E, so it's not in the packet. Bonfire, so your health is your bonfire. You want to light your bonfire, keep it lit. So bonfirehealth.com. Yep, bonfire. If you go bonfire.com, it's some company. I've done that. It's not Bonfire Health. Any other questions? Well, I appreciate your time, and certainly we welcome you to come in the office. We welcome you to send us emails, or if you have questions. We're just here to help you reach your optimal levels of health, and we want to do that in any way we can. I appreciate your time. Thank you.